We begin with the shocking news of a confession by a British soldier who has admitted to killing a Kenyan woman in Nanyuki town and dumping her body in a septic tank.
Over several decades, British troops have been accused of fathering numerous children through the sexual violation of Kenyan women.
The Kenyan National Human Rights Commission estimates that there could be over 150 others, all fathered by soldiers deployed under a defense cooperation agreement between Kenya and Britain.
So we're here in Nanyuki, which is the home of the British Army base known as BATUK. The army base is massive, and so much of the local community is geared towards their presence. We have gourmet cafes, pizza shops, and just down the road, we have so many sports bars and clubs geared towards the British presence and their spending power here in Nanyuki. So when we look into the crimes and alleged abuses by the BATUK, we find that most of the victims and survivors come from communities like this, where they lack political and economic power to really pursue justice. So we're heading now to meet Esther, who is the niece of Agnes Wanjiru. She comes from a community like this. Her family still live in a community like this, 13 years after Agnes Wanjiru was murdered.
The niece of a Kenyan woman allegedly murdered by a British soldier 13 years ago has told Sky News that she is fighting for justice not just for her aunts, but to ensure other young women don't suffer the same fate. The body of Agnes Wanjiru was found in a septic tank close to a British Army base 2 months after she disappeared in March 2012. Kenyan prosecutors have issued an arrest warrant for a British national who is accused of killing the 21-year-old.
So at the family house of Agnes Wanjiru, where her sister, daughter and her niece stay, we're going to speak to them about how they feel like the case has been handled on a local and national level. Let's go inside. Good to see you again. You were telling us about Agnes, and I was wondering if you wouldn't mind showing us some pictures just so we can get to know who the woman was a bit better.
Esther, Redia, mtoto wangu.
She looks like a very good aunt.
Yeah.
This is the famous picture that's everywhere.
Agnes na friends wake.
Back in high school.
She looks so happy.
Oh, she was very jovial every time. She was just like smiling.
Smile. She have a good sense of humor.
Very. And she has a nice smile.
Big smile.
Yeah. I mean, she was very cheerful, hardworking. She was a hairdresser. She was an extrovert, social, because our house was full of her friends every time. And then we have spent more time with her than my mom, because my mom then was a house girl. So she'd leave home early and come back late. So when you're coming to school, it is Agnes who's at home for that time, and then your mom is coming very late. She's the eldest, so she's doing everything for us. Yeah. Now when she passed away, or like rather, when she went missing, she had to step back from her usual job to take care of the daughter. And from since then, she has never gone back.
So it affected the family financially a lot?
Yeah, sure, that's true.
Obviously, you raised Agnes. You knew her very well. I don't want her story to be forgotten about this. Who was Agnes? Can you tell us a bit about the person that this horrific crime happened to?
Shiro alikuwa mtoto wangu na alikuwa sister yangu yule mdogo. Na alikuwa mtoto mzuri, mtu anapenda watu, mtu anafanya kila kitu unamwambia.
What do you remember about the day that she went missing?
Hiyo date 31 alienda usiku na hakurudi. Asubuhi yake rafiki wenye walikuwa wameenda na yeye akakuja asubuhi akaitana Shiro. Nikaitika, nikamwambia Shiro hayuko. Akaenda akakaa akarudi tena akaitana Shiro. Nikamwambia Shiro hajakuja. Ndio huyo rafiki alipiga simu akaniambia Shiro walienda na yeye Lions Court na hakurudi. Walienda mpaka polisi wakaripoti wakumkuta huko. Halafu Monday wakaenda tena kwenye walikuwa Lions Court wakamkosa. Hiyo wiki tukamtafuta tukamkosa. Kuna siku tulienda huko lakini sikumbuki ni siku gani, tukaenda tukamkosa. Ndio sasa tulikaa bila tunamtafuta kila pahali tunamkosa mpaka siku ile alipatikana. Kusikia amekufa na kwenye alikuwa amerushwa kwa septic tank. Na nikajiuliza kwa nini wakumshika wampeleke polisi kama alikuwa amefanya vibaya, na kama alikuwa ameiba, na kama alikuwa amekosea, kwa nini hata hiyo Lions Court wangechukua hatua ya kumpeleka. Nasikia vibaya kwa sababu hiyo wakati wote kabla wapigane, kama walipigana ama vyenye ilitumika ndio wamuue, labda alikuwa anawaambia wasimuue, usinipige, niko na mtoto. Kwa mkao ulikuwa hiyo mambo yote walikuwa nasikia na hawakusema, walinyamaza mpaka akapelekwa kwa shimo. Ingine nikajiuliza, huyu mzungu ajui kwenye septic inakuaga, si walishikania na mkao ndio wampeleke hapo kwa shimo. Hiyo shimo nasikiaga inafungagwa. Huyu mzungu alitoa wapi funguo za kuenda kufungua hapo ndio wamrushe? Wenye tulienda kuona mwili alikuwa amedungwa hapa na kukuwa na hizi nema wanatudharau. Ndio alifanya hivyo, na alifanya hivyo akijua vyenye amefanya, na ndio alienda kwao akaweka kwa mitandao, na akaweka hata alikuwa na furaha kwa sababu ni kama Shiro alikuwa anamwambia ako na mtoto. Ndio alienda kuweka mtoto kwa kaburi akilia na yeye anacheka, na akaonyeshana ni kweli alimfanyia hapo kwa mkahawa, ndio alifanyia hiyo kitu.
How has the local government and the national government responded to this case?
Mimi hakuna mwenye nimeshaiona wa county, sijaona wa serikali kuu mwenye amekuja hapa kuniuliza kitu ama kuniambia wananisaidia. Hakuna mwenye alikuwa amefika hapa kuniuliza kitu. Ninaweza sema akuje afungiwe hapa kwanza, aletwe hapa Nanyuki koti ya huku ni kuonyeshana serikali ni kama inataka aletwe hapa wajisaidia wao wenyewe.
Agnes obviously left behind a very young daughter, Stacey. How does she feel about all this? What are the type of questions that she asks about her mother? And how does she feel about such large attention being on her mother's case and losing her mother in such a horrendous way?
anasikia vibaya akiona imerudiwa. Alikuja kujua akiwa mkubwa. Hiyo mambo inatendeka ni mama yake. Akiwa mdogo hakukuwa anajua kitu. Na saizi anajua. Na akiona inakuja kuuliziwa kama hivyo media inakuja. Yeye hata hataki kuonekana na media, hataki kuwaona hivyo.
Well, there aren't many places in the world where British troops can do this.
Grenade goes in. If grenade goes into this pit.
Throwing real grenades, firing live rounds, taking real risks on a pretty full-on training exercise in Kenya. They can fire all sorts of heavy weapons on this range, do everything as if it was for real.
So we're here at BATUK, the British Army Training Unit in Kenya. It's the UK's largest overseas military deployment, which is based in Nanyuki town. Each year, over 6,000 troops rotate through Kenya, using a land footprint larger than any UK army base anywhere in the world. For local communities, BATUK has meant lost land, environmental damage, and little accountability, brought into focus by the 2012 killing of Agnes Wanjiru, which showed that British soldiers under BATUK can act how they want, often escaping accountability and responsibility. Kenya got its independence in 1963. So immediately after the country was declared independent, there was this overseas military base, larger than any military base in any of the UK's former colonies. It's around 250,000 hectares. The biggest in the UK is Salisbury, which is around 38,000 hectares. So this is almost 5 times bigger than the biggest military base in the UK in a so-called independent country that is free from colonisation. We spoke to the General Secretary of the Communist Party Marxist Kenya, Buke Ngese Omole, about the origins of BATUK and why the army of a former colonial power established a military base in Kenya in 1963, the same year the country gained independence.
Just after independence, there was a call for the Mau Mau fighters to lay down their arms and join the newly created Jomo Kenyatta government. It's important to recognize that majority of the Mau Mau fighters that still think that justice was not given to their leader, Dedan Kimathi, the first demand was a decent burial for Dedan Kimathi, and all the white highlands that existed mainly in the fertile mountain regions to be handed over to their real owners, not just to the government, but should be handed over to the people that were made landless and placed in the concentration camp. Majority of the Mau Mau fighters did not agree to come out of the forest until that, irreducible minimum was actually met. So this is how Jomo Kenyatta then used what they were calling the patrol columns to help map out the remnants of the Mau Mau that remains in the Aberdare forest. So remember, the hand down for what they were calling the remnants of the Mau Mau was to make sure that they put maximum pressure on the fighters to come out without land, to come out without freedom. So you can see how the British Army comes in handy to reinforce the neo-colonial police, the neo-colonial army, and make sure that any resistance that could actually, float out the government of Jomo Kenyatta at that time is suppressed. So this is important as the origin of the British Army to protect the imperial interest and not the sovereignty of the Kenyan people.
Hi. You're on behalf of Amnesty International Executive Director.
No, it wasn't difficult. Instructions are very good. So then the local police came to it.
So I think the Agnes Wanjiru case, it's easy to see it as a singular individual case, right? But you have to look at it in the context of the political economy of colonial repression and the absence of accountability and justice for almost 100 years. I mean, it was about 60 years of just sheer terror and violence and plunder. As Amnesty International, we released a study in the early 2000s where we indicated between 1963 and I think 2005, there was something like 650 deaths by BATUK troops in Kenya. But it's not just the violence, and the violence I think takes place at different levels.
It's worth taking a closer look at this report. It alleges that members of the British Army stationed in Kenya raped hundreds of Kenyan women, with around 650 allegations recorded between 1965 and 2001. It goes on to state,
more than half of the cases involve allegations of gang rape. Some of those reported to have been sexually assaulted were children at the time.
If accurate, this points to a deeply disturbing pattern of abuse spanning decades. A BFBS Forces News investigation, an independent outlet reporting on defence, security and the UK Armed Forces, found that despite hundreds of rape allegations linked to British troops in Kenya, not a single soldier accused of sexual abuse has been dismissed, raising serious concerns about the Army's alleged zero-tolerance policy. The Senate inquiry, published in August 2025, identified 35 reported cases of sexual exploitation and abuse involving personnel serving in Kenya between July 2022 and June 2025. Taken together, these findings point to institutional failings in protecting Kenyan women from soldiers stationed at the British Army Training Unit in Kenya. But these allegations are only part of a much wider set of concerns surrounding BATUK's presence in Kenya.
So there is, of course, the ecological damage, right, of having ordinances and training taking place on Kenyan soil. The second one, of course, is accidental deaths, or deaths that happen as a result of, herders basically, or pastoralists moving through the areas as the exercises are taking place. And the third area is the kind of sexual and gender-based violence that Agnes Wanjiru unfortunately was subjected to.
We spoke to a Maasai farmer in Nanyuki who shared a first-hand account of the environmental and livestock damage he says is linked to the British Army's presence in the area. What happened with the cattle?
My cattle was when he's grazing in where the BATUK come to train, because where they come to train is 100 meters from my homeland to where they train. So they left the bomb, the landmine inside. So my cattle come and explodes out of my cattle. And then when the bomb was exploded, so my pregnant sister was miscarried. And then there's many chemicals when they left there in the ground when they are doing their training. So all the chemicals come when the rain season come, where we take water, both human being and the animals. So we take that water, and then after the water, some of us get cancer, and then some the kids get a big stomach. Okay.
And what happened? The cattle died from the explosion or from drinking the contaminated water?
When they drink that water, they also die. And then after explosion, they died all.
How many died in the explosion?
62.
And how many died from drinking the water?
That's 7.
I would probably argue that it wasn't actually the British whistleblower. When people die, particularly when they're killed, it is often that people know about it. So Agnes Wanjiru's family knew about it. Her friends knew about it. Perkis, the soldier, his platoon, his colleagues would have known about it. And the problem is that in many cases, the culture of impunity is just so high that the local jurisdiction and the local judicial mechanisms don't get applied at the point of the violation. The Agnes Wanjiru case raises another question, which is essentially the question of national sovereignty. Too many of these violations having taken place on Kenyan soil are not investigated thoroughly on Kenyan soil. Officers, soldiers are allowed to leave the country, go back to their country of origin, and the likelihood of justice taking place in Britain is almost nil, even if there is a court-martialing process. From the eyes of the community in which the injustice took place, there is no justice, right? So Agnes's family, in order to be able to see the person that killed their loved one, would have to travel 4,500 kilometers to the United Kingdom in order to do that. I think the parliamentary request that has just been completed was very important, because what they were basically arguing is that it is under Kenyan jurisdiction that these human rights took place, and therefore it is under Kenyan jurisdiction that justice must be secured. There is a sense that this is somehow a very localized problem because it's around the training area. And I think that's the challenge that human rights organizations have not quite overcome, which is the idea that, it may have happened in one part of the country, but actually it affects 56 million Kenyans, because those bullets, that abuse that happened, could happen anywhere in the country. I mean, these soldiers don't just reside in one county. They will go on holiday to Mombasa. They will perhaps go to Naivasha. They will come to Nairobi. And it's important for the country to realize that actually, if we don't have the same equality of protection throughout the Republic, then none of us are safe.
Nanyuki is a town in central Kenya, around 200 kilometers north of Nairobi, at the foothills of Mount Kenya. But its significance goes far beyond geography. Nanyuki is home to the British Army Training Unit Kenya, or BATUK. Each year, thousands of British troops are sent here to train in vast open terrain that allows for large-scale exercises not possible in the UK. BATUK's presence is not limited to Nanyuki alone. Its operations are spread across several training areas, including Laikipia County, Samburu County, Isiolo County, and Archer's Post. With a permanent camp in Nanyuki and access to expansive training grounds such as Lodaiga Hills. According to the British Ministry of Defence, the region's climate and landscape make it a key site for preparing soldiers for operations abroad, allowing them to train year-round. But this long-standing military presence has also placed Nanyuki and the wider region at the centre of growing scrutiny and controversy. So this is where the Lions Court Hotel used to be. In the community, is this place seen as very controversial? Not just with the family, but the community?
Yeah, for sure, because they covered up a money.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where the disease was last seen here, and the body was found here, and even after them denying all this time, saying that she's not here.
How do you feel now coming back here?
Of course, I feel bad because it is the Kenyans who are operating this place. They never cared about Agnes. They never protected Agnes. They chose a white guy over Agnes just because of his skin color. And it can show you that some Kenyans, they are enemies of each other.
Do you think the people involved in this crime from the hotel, do you think there'll ever be any justice towards them?
I think if the proper law is followed, everyone who is culpable, they should be held accountable, starting from the guys that helped Pakis to everyone who covered up here in the hotel. So to me, I would want everyone to be punished who collaborated to cover up Agnes' murder.
Tell me about the call that was made from here to the barracks.
The call that was made is after they committed the crime. The guy who came to pick them up could hear them arguing at the back, saying, "I'll never forgive you." It was a crime that was reported in the wee hours, and no one took any action. They thought it was a joke, and it remained like that until the Sunday Times reported back. That's when they took this matter seriously.
And the soldier that's accused of the crime, am I right in believing he stood in front of this hotel, took a picture, and said, "If you know, you know"? How do you feel about that?
It makes me feel bad because it's as if he was proud of what he had done, and then of course he knew the law could not have gotten up with him. I mean, it can show you the collaboration that he had with the hotel. It shows them that nothing could have happened.
Okay, let's go see if we can speak to someone inside. Hi, bro. Is there a manager I can speak to, or the owner? Yeah.
Why?
You're the owner?
No, I'm not the owner.
Do you know who the owner is?
I don't know the answer.
The manager? Yeah. Is there someone available I can speak to, supervisor?
Maybe I can call the guy.
Okay, thank you. Hello, how you doing?
Hi.
Are you the manager here?
No.
Are you the owner?
No.
Do you know where the manager is?
Manager of the hotel.
Yeah.
He's not a hotel for now.
What is it now?
He's manager offices.
NGO offices.
Yeah.
I just want to speak to the person that owns the land, because obviously there was a very...
The owner of the land.
Yeah.
I don't know where. I can't locate her.
So, do you have a contact number for her? Can I leave my contact number with you?
Yep.
Okay, let me do that. Tell this story. I want to find out what happened and who was involved. So yeah, you can take my number.
Okay. What's her name?
26.
Okay.
Unsurprisingly, the landlord who ran the hotel at the time never made contact. In fact, over the 13 years since Agnes was killed inside their hotel, neither the management nor the ownership ever reached out to her family to offer condolences.
You turn right here.
Turn right. What I'm asking is, when the British soldiers are in town, is it fair to say that for someone like Agnes with little money, this is seen as an opportunity to make a little bit of money that might be used to help her daughter?
That's a lie. Back then, but not now.
Yeah.
So right now, the soldiers are using online, and the guys are complaining that, you see, for online, like they're using maybe Tinder and what, they're not getting paid enough.
What you're saying is, back then, when Agnes went out that night, she wouldn't have been, would she have been going out to make some money or going out to have some fun?
Of course, both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, because they were still young and stupid. They thought having a night stand with the white guy, you get the contacts, maybe they will marry you, or maybe you be boyfriend and girlfriend, but as soon as they leave Kenya, that's the end of the relationship.
All right, so where are we going to now? Where is it located?
We're going to Agnes' gravesite. It's there. The way we identify it is through the size so that my late dad planted, because we can't afford to have it be cemented or well done.
Oh, is this thing here?
Yeah.
Oh my. It's actually very beautiful.
It is.
Very beautiful. They're standing there kind of tall and defiant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost like Agnes' spirit.
Sure.
Refusing to bow down.
Yeah.
And piercing. What was the burial like?
Of course, it was somber because of the state of the body. We were not allowed to view the body.
Your mom saw the body?
Yeah, because of course she had to be there to identify the body.
That must have been very traumatic for your mom.
For sure, it isn't. It's still traumatizing.
Yeah. Does she still talk about
Yeah,
seeing her body and the state of it and how it affected her?
Yeah, she do speaks about that, and she really breaks down because of course it's not a good scene. Yeah.
So can I ask, what is this here? What's the writing about?
It's me. It's this what I do when I come to see her, and I just write something to her. There's always those
What does this
short
one say?
messages. So this one, it was just a day before I left to the UK, and I wrote, after 13 years, I'm finally going to the UK to lobby.
What do you use to write it with?
I use these ones, the sharp ends.
Okay. And what about this one? What does it say?
This one, it says, rest in peace, Agnes Wanjiru.
Kwa jina yangu ni Irene Kipsuge. Tulikuwa na yule aliaga, alikuwa anaitwa Swara Seure. Tulikuwa na yeye wakati huo kwangu. Sasa kawaida ya wa British Army wanakujaga wanachukua vijana mwezi moja. Sasa alipomaliza hiyo mwezi moja akakuja na kitu kama kando. Mimi sikukuwa, nilikuwa kazini. Sasa mimi kufika kijana alikuwa analala. Nikuchoka sasa, alikuwa kuja kuoga na kulala. Kuamuka akakuja akaniambia kuna kando nimeleta kutoka huko. Nikamwambia kando aina gani? Akanionyesha, nikamwambia hii si kando, hii inaonekana ni kitu mbaya. Na mimi nikaendelea kufanya kazi zangu. Sasa yeye akachukua hiyo kando, wakati nimemkataza akaficha. akatoa kiberiti akasimama kwa jikoni kwa mlango, akaanza kupiga kiberiti. Wakati alipiga kiberiti nilikuwa napika huko ndani, yeye ako kwa mlango, mama ako ndani. Mimi nilisikia tu mlipuko once. Mimi nilisikia mlipuko, nikaanza kufanya hivi, nikasikia vitu zinanipita pande hii, nikabomoa ukuta mahali nilikuwa, na kukakuwa kama moshi. Sasa wakati niliamuka na nikafungana masikio, wakati masikio nikaanza kuangalia, sioni mtu, nikatoka nje kama nimelewa, kama nimekunywa pombe. Nikaona mama amerushwa nje. Mimi kutoka nikakanyanga huyo kijana, amekuwa nyama in pieces na nyumba inachomeka. Sasa watu baada ya kusikia hiyo mlipuko, watu wakakimbia. Ukimbia already, wakati nilipata fahamu, unajua sasa nafanya kama hakuna, yani ni kama akili imepotea, lakini nimerealize huyu mtu hayuko. Haya, hata hii t-shirt nilikuwa nimevaa niko na damu ingine nilirukia yake, ingine ikatoka nje. Sasa mimi nikashikwa na watu, nikatolewa nguo. Sasa watu wakaanza kupiga nduru, nyumba tu ikiendelea kuchomeka, na ikachomeka kila kitu. Mlango ulikuwa somewhere hapa. Sasa moto ilikuwa hapo. Sasa nilikuwa na keti hapa, mama alikuwa kando na karibu na yeye. Sasa akasimama, mguu moja iko ndani, mguu moja iko nje. Nilipomwambia hiyo kitu ni mbaya, usiwakishe, akatoka kwanza. Mimi nikaendelea na kupika. Akarudi akiwa na kiberiti Sasa alilipuliwa juu, katupwa, mama alitupwa pale. Mimi nikakuwa stranded. Nikatoka, wakati nilitoka watu walikuwa wamejaa. Watu kuona ile t-shirt nilikuwa na ilikuwa na damu. Sasa nikakimbizwa hospitali, ndio nilikuja kurealize baadaye ni huyu amefanya nini? Ameaga. Lakini nilikuwa na mkanyanga, hata viatu ilikuwa na damu, kila kitu. Na alikuwa naishi pale. Hapo nimejenga choo. Sasa alipoaga nikatoa hiyo nyumba, nikatoanisha yote. Sasa nilibeba hata nini, nabebaga mchanga nikijazaga nisikumbuke. Naona nimejaza huko. Sasa imebakia na jazaga hapa, ndio nisikumbuke hiyo maneno yote hapo. Sasa vitu yenye yangu ilikuwa hapa yote ilienda yote. Hakuna yenye ilibaki, labda ilibaki draw kidogo tu. Iko pale. Draw kidogo tu ndio ilibaki, lakini kitu yote ililipuliwa.
Considering that you're a Kenyan citizen, born and raised in Kenya, this happened on Kenyan soil at the hands of a foreign army. Has the Kenyan government, on a local or national level, done anything to stand with you?
Hapana. Naona kama hawakunijali, kwa sababu hiyo pesa ambaye ingekuwa compensated atungelipa huyo lawyer. Serikali wangetusaidia. Hawakunijali kwa sababu unajua hawa watu wanaleta pesa nyingi Kenya. Wakileta pesa nyingi Kenya, mwananchi wa kawaida Kenya hawezi akashughulikiwa kwa sababu ya hiyo pesa. Mimi naona vile serikali inafikiria, wanapenda hawa watu kuliko wananchi wao. Kwa sababu kama ni kitu ambaye haingefanya nini, serikali ingeshughulika, hawa watu wangekuwa hapa. Hawa watu wangechukuliwa hatua kali, ambaye wakikuja wanakaa vizuri, wakakosa kuwa careless. Wangekuwa na instructions ya kuambiwa hii na hii na hii na hii takikani. Lakini serikali inawapea uhuru. Mahali wanapewa uhuru, hawajali. Hawajali. Kwa sababu kama wangekuwa najali, watu wengi wamekufa sana. For example, hata wakikuja rapes, kisa cha raping kwa wasichana, mambo mingi wanafanya, lakini serikali wananyamazia. Kwa hivyo hawa watu wanaonekana wanapendwa zaidi kuliko mwananchi wa Kenya.
So can you tell us, why is he buried here? And is the reason he doesn't have a gravestone because at the time the family didn't have money before the compensation came. And also, how do you feel when you come here?
Tulimweka hapa kwa sababu hatukuwa na pesa. Tulinunua tu sanduku tukasaidiwa na well wishers. Watu wa kijiji ndio walichanga tukamweka. Alafu mambo ya msalaba inategemea na kanisa yenye inamzika. Mambo ya kanisa. Alafu mimi nitakaye kuja hapa, nikikuja hapa na Chicago nasikia kitu kingine. Yaani hiyo memory yote inakuja kama fresh. Namuona, naona vile itatendeka. Kwa hivyo sipendagi hapa sana. Sipendagi hapa sana. Kwa sababu nakumbuka mambo yale yalifanyika. Naona kama ni sasa.
When was the first time you came into contact with a British soldier?
I was 18 years old. The time my mom passed away, I thought I need to take care of my siblings, the small ones. So my friend, they start showing me how to go out.
To go out and to make money?
To make money so I can take care of the others. I meet one man, his name was John. Where we was going in Riverside, there was a hotel. So that's where I get my first pregnant. And then after a few months, the man, they doesn't tell people when are they going back to England.
And this soldier, John, did he give you any promises? Did he say good things like, I'll take care of you?
Everybody told you they will take care of you. But when he goes, you cannot meet him again.
And did he know you was pregnant?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a chance that John doesn't know that he has a child?
Yeah.
Okay. And how old is your child now?
My child is 22 years old.
How many times did you meet his father?
It's 2 weeks.
Many times during 2 weeks or just one time?
Many times.
And sorry for asking this question, but did you use protection when you was having?
First, yeah. And second, we go to the cottage hospital. And he sees I'm okay and he's okay.
So then he stops using protection?
Yeah.
So he was only concerned was about catching a sexually transmitted disease?
Yeah.
He wasn't concerned about you becoming pregnant?
I think so, yeah.
Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for justice shall prevail.
So we're in Nanuki town at a press conference, which includes Pointee, a group consisting of children whose fathers belong to the BATUK military base. There's also NGOs here, human rights organizations, and are trying to raise awareness on the several abuses that come from BATUK and come from the soldiers stationed at BATUK.
Currently, we have almost 18 children sired by the British Army. Some of them, we have linked them with their fathers, and others, we are still yet to do a follow-up because we have all done DNA for them. Almost 11, we know their fathers. 6, they have accepted their children. So we are yet to know how they will get the support because currently they are having a lot of trouble. We have those young kids in schools.
Yeah.
They are different from others. Their hair is different. So most of the time these other children go and touch their hair. They call them Mzungu because actually they are Mzungus. So most of the time they are kind of sidelined in school. They are traumatized because
they're ostracized.
Yes, ostracized in the community.
At the press conference, we heard about a child as young as 3 and a man in his 50s whose father was a British soldier. It shows that this has gone unabated for decades and continues today. And what about the mothers of these children? Is it the same?
Yes, of course, because they tell you, how did you go and having a Mzungu and then you have a kid? Now they say, now why did you do that? You could have gotten a black man. Now see, you have a lot of problems, they left you. You are working with a Mzungu here in the village. Traditionally, again, Maasais, and African culture. When you say a Mzungu, they question you very much. Maybe they call you names. You are a prostitute or wherever.
Now, as Laikipia
These British guys, they take advantage of these poor women. They use very small, minimal dollars to lure them and to impregnate them. And when they go back to the UK, they change their numbers and they disappear. They communicate the first week, second, 1 month, and then they disappear. It's a trend.
Still have hopes that one day get out there. So
my mom died when I was 7 months in 2007. And from 2, my grandma has been taking care of me, like paying my school fees. So by any help or any chance, I can just come to place and meet my dad, just to know him. Maybe he can help the part that is left, can help my grandmother. Yeah, maybe I will appreciate his presence.
good.
Yeah.
Does most of the conversation go towards lawyers' fees? Is that the situation?
So the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, is duty bound, has a responsibility of ensuring that anyone who practices within the country practices within the agreed guidelines provided for, particularly in terms of fees. You know, you can't just come, there's 500 million that is supposed to go to communities, and then as a law firm, you take 50% of it. It doesn't make sense. Absolutely doesn't make sense. So I agree that, we've had some crooked lawyers who have misused their profession to unfairly gain from individuals such as Andrew and others. And it's about time the Law Society of Kenya cracks the whip and makes sure that these rogue lawyers are held to account.
Referring to Agnes Wanjiru happened in 2012, but recently there's been a case to extradite the British soldier to Kenya. Has that come from the campaigning of human rights and civil society here in Kenya, or is the Kenyan government just growing a conscience?
No. Definitely, the results we are seeing in the Agnes Wanjiru case is, coming out of human rights activists and more so community grassroots groups, raising their voices against what happened. We understand Agnes is no more. Her children have grown up now. And, it's very sad that it has taken over a decade for justice to finally begin, to work. And we are hoping that the British government will honor that request to extradite this individual to Kenya so that justice can finally be done.
We will not remain silent when the rights of our people are being violated. Whether it's the British who come to Kenya, they kill, they rape our women, we are warning them that this country will not allow you to continue doing that. Viva, comrades, viva!
The case of Agnes is not the case of a single matter that is being followed up. The case of Agnes is being used as an example of many other atrocities that have been committed. We have many children whose fathers to date have not taken responsibility, even accepted that they committed, these rapes and all that. We have mothers who are bringing up children, and every time they look at that child, it's a reminder, a horrible incident that happened to her in the hands of British soldiers. We have many who are out there today walking with no limbs. When they remember what happened, it's directly as a result of the British Army presence in Nanyuki as part of BATUK. So the case of Agnes is a precedent-setting case. Hopefully, when we have this case hard and determined to its finality, it will open doors to many others who are currently watching, hoping and praying that justice will be done so that that justice can also be transferred to them.
It seems that the British Army base BATUK isn't going anywhere, and instead the opposite seems to be happening, with other international powers aiming to replicate the military agreements that Kenya has with its former colonizer.
You will realize that the British Army, and there is an important phenomenon that is developing in our country now with the French government and Ruto administration. It's the same pact that the French are actually copying. The first thing is that the British Army was given immunity in our country, judicial immunity, that they could only be tried by their courts. Now remember, there is already a paper in Parliament also talking about giving immunity to French military men in preparation for the French Africa Summit that is coming up in this country, which is going to sign another deal to bring a French military base here in our country as a result of reallocation of the French military hardware that has actually lost their ground in the Sahel region. So you can see how interconnectedness these struggles are. But the Kenya Defence Forces that sits just next to the BATUK, it's actually to demonstrate how our military men are infused in command of the British Army. Because remember, the British Army can import anything. Even at the Mombasa port, they have their own clearance port away from the Kenyan port. So they can bring anything they so wish to bring in this country. And the association of the British Army and the Kenya Defence Forces also borders land theft, because the entire land was marked for the Kenyan military. How is it possible that sections of that Kenyan land was handed over to the British, not paying a single cent for it? And also this can be brought even in the current context. Look at one of the biggest garrisons, the Garissa Air Base, has been handed over to the processes of unmanned vehicles for the United States. Currently, the United States is constructing the biggest drone station in part of the Garissa military base. So essentially, it's not just land theft or resource manipulation, but it's also to make sure that the Kenyan military cannot take instructions on their own, independent of the foreign army that is present in their precincts.
Sovereign media reached out to the British Ministry of Defence for a response to the allegations raised in this documentary. At the time of publication, they had not responded.